Hello everyone, my name is Avkash and I hope you all are doing very well. ChatGPT, I believe is that most of you have already heard, almost every one of you, and I also believe that almost all of you have already used the ChatGPT interface one way or another to submit your prompt and you have received result. As programmer, what if you would want to use that ChatGPT in your Python program? So you already know that as of now, the official OpenAI APIs for ChatGPTs are not accessible yet. They are still going to be available little later. However, there are several other Python libraries or modules available which you could use to build your own Python based application, and that is the objective of this video. I wanted to build a Python application and I was looking for a Python library which I could use to build my Python application, and that's where I looked for few Python libraries and I found some of them. And when I was experimenting, I found one or two or others, some pros and some cons. So I decided to create this video and share with you. So this video is all about if you would want to use Python libraries to create your own Python applications and sending your prompt to the ChatGPT server and receiving your response. That video is going to help you to select and use certain Python libraries. So let's get ourselves started. So most of you are already familiar with this chat.openai.com interface where you can ask what is Python, like you can ask your question and you are going to get answer from the ChatGPT. Everybody almost familiar with this interface. At next, we are going to look into three different Python libraries officially and unofficially created to work with ChatGPT. Very first, we are going to look into ChatGPT by Aaron Chang, and as you could see, it has about 11.5 thousand GitHub stars. Second, we are going to look into this one where PyChatGPT, it is unofficial, had about 3.1 thousand GitHub stars, and actually this repo is not maintained. Its work has been started, is quite powerful, but after that the developer decided to discontinue the development. And there is another one which is PyChatGPT. So these two have identical name, however this one has the 792 GitHub stars. So these three different Python libraries to use OpenAI ChatGPT interface through Python. There may be more available, but I try to give you an idea with these three different libraries and how you can really utilize them. Pros and cons, everything we are going to look into very quickly. First thing is this ChatGPT. You really need to install pip install ChatGPT, and that actually gives you the interface as a command line. And the official ChatGPT, as you could see, you need to pass your API key. This API key is actually the key which belongs to your OpenAI key. So here is my OpenAI interface for the ChatGPT, and here I already have access to OpenAI. It means I logged in. It's a free account. You can create an account. And this is the second key which I have created here just today. And after this demo, I will go ahead and I will remove this key. So this is the key which is going to be used here. And then after you can use this over the command line. So here, as you could see, that I do have Python 3.10 interface. I'm using Conda. So it's a Conda environment and I have already installed the ChatGPT. So this command is available for me. And here is the API key which I'm using from OpenAPI interface. So this is the one key which I'm using right now. Command is there available, as if you would want to get the help, you could get help here. You need to press 2 times enter. Various commands are available. If you decide to exit, 2 times and you are exit. So I have already installed. So if you look into PIP, last command rev ChatGPT. So I have already installed as explained by this library, and once it is installed, now I can run the command by using this official ChatGPT. So API key, passing API key, and dash 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 history. Now I can write a command. So for example, what is Python? And as you could see, 2 times you need to press enter. User can ask question and it's going to answer the response against your question, similar to if you are asking the question here. If you are going to ask the question such as what is the difference between Python and Rust, and same question can be asked here at command line, and you are going to get answer about that. So you have ability to use your prompt engineering skill and you can ask question back and forth. Beauty of this library is that you can use any command line available for asking question, but there are some caveat to it, and I'm just coming to the data. Here I have a question where I'm asking the summarization. So here I have a summarization request where I'm asking ChatGPT to take my resume expertise section and reword it. I will go ahead and I have asked ChatGPT to reword my resume expertise section. And as you could see here, that ChatGPT is actually using the emphasis properly. So successfully built, rather than using established engineering teams. So whatever I have written the expertise in my resume, ChatGPT is actually explaining them properly and writing them in much better English comparative to me, because English is my second language. If I use the same request and come to command line, here I have written here, and as you could see here, that so here my request is that please reword my resume expertise section as below. I'm adding there, and as you could see here, that when you are pressing enter, the problem is that all these enters are being accepted as the command. So we have to make sure that when we are using the command line version of that, we have to put everything in proper perspective. We need to learn a little more about it, because you will not be able to get this thing working properly for you. So you need little more understanding on how to use the large context with commands such as ChatGPT. So you can get one more idea that there are some issues when using that, but the good thing is that just using your OpenAI key, you have access to, this is the official browserless. And if you would want to use with browser, then you can use this reverse ChatGPT unofficial, and that is going to use the browser, and then some of the commands are available where you can get the session token and you can apply the session token. So if you would want to use the chatbot, build something, you would want to use chatbot in your Python code and pass the command and get the response, you will be able to get them. So this is the one library which has 11,000 plus GitHub stars that can be used, and it's fully maintained as of now. As you could see that there are very recent updates has been added, and as you could see here that command is not being understood properly, and that's the help, and then you can say exit and you will be able to exit. However, now let's come back to the second library, and that we are going to use this PyChatGPT, which is discontinued because it's not really maintained. And I'm just going to show you very quickly, because this library is designed to use the code such as when you are starting a chat session in PyChatGPT, here you see chat and options. So options is going to set up various options, and here the chat, you will see that is using the email and password. So this library has support where you can actually use your, whether you are using the Gmail or Microsoft email, or I think Twitter is also supported by the OpenAI. So whatever open authentication methods are available, you can actually use this chat class, and you can instantiate this chat object, and by using this chat object you can ask your question or send your prompt, and you are going to get response back. And if you are using if you would want to use the OpenAPI, then you can set the OpenAPI auth using the email and password and get the access token and use that access token for the session. That's something you could do. Because this library is not really maintained, so I decided not to really dig more about it and just to jump to the next library, which is also has the same name, but it has the less GitHub stars. In this library, the good thing is that this library is actually using the session token, but there are a couple of issues when you are going to use this API. First thing, when you are using the web-based session, what happens is that you actually get the chat session. So this is your session information. However, if you look into the developer resources for this session, so here are the developer resources for this session, and in the application you will see here that for this chat.openai.com, here are the various keys, and if you look into the key, this is this key and here is the result. And as you could see that this is the session token which is actually going to be used to use this second PyChatGPT library in your code. So I have already installed this PyChatGPT in my Conda environment. So this is my Conda environment, and if you look into pip show PyChatGPT, you are going to get this library is from Terry 3041, and that's what we are using, the Terry 3041. So this is the library which is already installed, and here we are going to follow the session, and you will see live example how this API works. So here I have the very simple code which is using the PyChatGPT, and it's using this ChatGPT module, and this ChatGPT module is actually using this access token, which is this access token, which I have already shown how I was able to get it. And then after, tell me the difference between Python and Rust. So that's the message we are sending, and that should give us the result. So let me run this code. You will see when this code is running, actually this code is going to launch a browser window where the session is going to be authenticated by the web browser. After this session is authenticated, here you see it's verified that you are human. Verification is done. If you do already one time, then this will not happen again. Now you see that same command which we have asked here is actually being ran. So this is not something really very clean interface. It's kind of really very dirty, but at least it gives you an idea that if you would want to create your own application and you need to choose which Python library is good for you, you have a better understanding. And now you could see here that this is the result, which is actually pretty printed using this pretty print library, and that's where I'm giving you the result, which is here. If you would want to see the result, those results were already also available in the web browser, something similar to that here. Because when you were using this library, that library actually invoke a browser session. So that's where the session will going to be created so that your question can be sent to the chat GPT server and the response can be collected over the HTTP network. This also uses the authentication type Google, Microsoft, OpenAPI. So as you could see that you have various functionality available in order to make it work. And it is also possible that if you do not want to use the browser version, then you can actually use the Chromium browser plugin, and using that plugin you will be able to run the code without interfere or the without nagging window of your ChatGPT session authentication. If I will try to run this command again, so here I'm using the ChatGPT to, here is some of the experience, and I'm just asking ChatGPT to what will be the best suitable profession based on following experiences. And if you run this code, this request is going to be sent to the browser. The browser is going to be launched and the request has been sent. So this is all the content has been sent to the ChatGPT, and that content was being sent. So here is the response coming out from the ChatGPT. And as you could see here, that based on your experience, as this, you are good for certain roles such as like this. So you can get an idea that how we were able to use the PyChatGPT library in Python, and using this way you have ability to pass lots and lots of content to your ChatGPT server as a request, and you can get response back to you. So depending on your need, you can select whether you want to use this way or you would want to use the official ChatGPT Python library, where you can actually interface the runtime application with your Python code. So just to summarize our content, we have looked into the very popular library, which is this one, ChatGPT, and then we have looked into this, but we did not cover it because this library is no longer in further development or is not maintained, and we also looked into this one. All of these libraries, I have made sure that they are available in my public DeepWorks repo. So in the DeepWorks repo, you can go to ChatGPT section in generative API, and you can get the introduction to all of these three libraries. So that's all I had for you in this video. I hope you have enjoyed your content. I appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Until then, thank you so much.